Hi guys, so in this video I'm gonna try to go through how to perform the acid worm skip. It's just commonly abbreviated as AWS. The point of acid worm skip is to try to get through to the left of this room without using this zip line. In order to activate this zip line, we'd have to go all the way over here to the right and fight acid worm. That takes at least a couple of minutes, so this is like a really big time saver. And instead of doing all that, we could just do something that looks a bit like this. If I can just do it, there we go. We can do that. Past this point, there is no real use for these zip lines, so this is really the only place where you would need to have them. This is one of the biggest time savers in 90%, and also one of the hardest single tricks you're expected to do in a 90% run. There's no real consistent way to do this. We have a couple of different strats, but none of them are like super consistent. So even good runners are like really, it's really scary to get into this room when you're having a good run, because you're likely to just screw it up in here. But anyway, so to start off, you want to destroy these two blocks and then jump up to this ledge. This jump, as you saw me miss it earlier, is way tighter than it looks. So if you're having issues making this jump, it's okay to like leave one of the blocks there and just go here, because this jump is free. It takes a bit more time though. It's only like a second, so it shouldn't really matter that much. So once you're up here, we need to get past these gaps. What mostly everyone does, and we're kind of agreed that this is the most quick and consistent way to get past here, is to fall down and power grip up. It's sort of tricky at first, but it's not that hard, to be fair. You just want to make sure to unmorph late when you do this, because if you try to unmorph too soon, like if you're trying to unmorph right here, it won't work because you're too close to the ceiling, and unmorphing just doesn't happen, and nothing happens, which is like sort of annoying. You want to wait until you're at about this height, when your morph ball aligns with the top row of these blocks, or slightly below it, like here is also fine. If I press up here, I can still make it. So you want to wait to be pretty late. It'll make sense after a while if you practice it. But if you're having trouble doing the power grip, you can also use bombs, like so. This is of course way slower, but it's an alternative if you're having issues. Another problem with this is that it destroys the blocks you're on. So if you're doing this and you're like, oh shit, I fell down, you can just go back and try again. But if you're using bombs, they're gone and you're gonna have to reset the room. But hey, I mean, if you can't do this, then like, as long as you can get past this, do whatever works, you know. Another strat to get through this that I don't recommend doing, but I just want to mention anyway, is to spring ball across the gap. I can't even do it. No, you can just like, if you time your spring ball correctly, just jump ball over. It's super tight, but it's the fastest way through if you want to be super optimal. But it's really hard. It's like almost frame perfect, I think. I think it's like a 2 or 3 frame window. So it's possible, but I wouldn't recommend it at all. Okay, so once we're over here, there are 4 main ways to clear the distance to get over there. Oh, screw it up. There are 4 main ways to get over here. I'll start with the most commonly used method, usually called the 4-bomb or bomb spam. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. You get over here, you place a bunch of bombs, and then you roll off the ledge, hopefully getting all the way over there. Screw it up. There are some subtleties in making this like properly consistent. To start off, you want to be on the very edge of this block. You can use the visual cue of this line in the ceiling as the point of where you'll fall down. If the center of the morph ball gets past this line, you fall down. So you want to aim at sort of have like look at the dot in the center of the morph ball and have it be like in the middle of these two lines or slightly past it, and you're fine for positioning. And just like with power gripping down here, you want to unmorph pretty late. This has the same issue where if you try to unmorph too early, you're too close to the ceiling and it just doesn't work. You need a block of space above you in order to unmorph. So it's better to be safe and just try to do it late. Try to unmorph just before grabbing the ledge. No. Or like in halfway through the fall. The most important part of this is to place the bombs quickly enough. You really want to place them as fast as the game will allow you to do, which if you're really fast at mashing is not as fast as you can press the button. There is a small delay between bombs that you have to, like you have a small cooldown between bombs. It's about 6 frames. You can tell if you're pressing too fast by the bombs just not appearing. See if you can try that. Like you could hear there, if you're paying attention, that there was like a small pause between my first and second bombs. You have to press really fast though. But you can tell if there's just not enough bombs showing up, you can tell that you're pressing too quickly. So you have to find sort of a rhythm to do it, but it's pretty quick. You can press pretty fast. It's a bit harder to tell if you're too slow, but you can practice this by staying on top of really any of these blocks. It doesn't have to be the last one, and just place 4 bombs. And if you're fast enough, you shouldn't fall down until after all of the bombs have exploded. So like that, you're just gonna be stuck up there during all the explosions. Like this is too slow, I fall down right away. But if I do it like that, that was sort of slow as well. That was too fast. And that was good. This takes some practice to get the rhythm down. But once you have it, it's pretty consistent, I guess. Like I said, this trick isn't consistent in general. So once you have that rhythm down, sort of, like it doesn't need to be perfect, but once you have it down decently, you get into this position I mentioned earlier. You plant the bombs, and when you would have planted the 5th bomb, if there was one, like rhythm-wise, you start moving left instead. Or at least that much. You can also wait a bit longer. If you're placing the bombs correctly, you can wait a bit longer before moving, which is the point. But somewhere around when you would have placed the 5th bomb. You can also wait longer like that. Place your bombs correctly. No, this is hard. You can also wait until the bombs start exploding. Yeah. Yo. You can also wait that. So it's a bit tricky, but you need to find a timing that works for you. So this 4-bomb method is generally considered the most consistent, but like I said, nothing is really consistent here, so I'm gonna show a couple of alternatives that might work better for you personally. We'll see how that works. But first, before that, I want to have a sort of unorthodox tip. And I know a few runners won't really like me mentioning this in any kind of resource, but I'm gonna do that anyway. And the trick is called chrono. We know about chrono in general, but I haven't seen people apply it to Acid Worm Skip. Going into details of what chrono is and how it works could be a completely separate video by itself, so I'm just gonna leave that be, and you're gonna have to trust me that this works. So you do sort of the normal 4-bomb strat. You get in the same position, you place it in the same rhythm, but you only place 3 bombs. And then you roll off the ledge a lot earlier than you would during a normal 4-bomb. And then you start pausing like crazy. Pausing is going to cause your bombs to explode faster, and as such they're gonna increase the window when you're allowed to roll off the ledge by a lot. So something like this. I think I screwed up the timing. I almost still made it. Oh no. So do that. So you cannot keep pausing to the left until you notice that you got the boost you needed to get over here. This, like I said, increases the timing window by a lot, but it's also obviously really slow because of all the pausing. So you should only really use this as a sort of crutch until you get better at it. Or if you're in, it's also like easy to screw up, like everything else. Or if you're in like a super high pressure situation or whatever, but don't rely on this because of how slow it is. With that out of the way, the first alternate strat I'm going to talk about is the 1-bomb strat, which is also fairly common, or at least it used to be pretty common for people to do. It's pretty close to using the 4-bomb, but instead of relying on rhythm when placing the bombs, it relies on timing when rolling off the ledge. So you can either just have good natural timing, like that, which is sort of hard, it's sort of awkward, there's no like real cue to do this. You just have to get it into your head when the timing is to get over here. Like you wanna fall off the ledge a bit before getting boosted. But there is a small trick you can use if you don't want to rely on standard timing, where if you get into position and you start rolling to the right at the same time as you place the bomb, like really press right and B at the same time, you can use this line in the block as a visual cue of when to turn around to get a good timing. It's still not that perfect because of irregularities, and it's hard to time anyway. But it's something if you want a visual cue. You can also pause buffer this if you really want to find it doesn't really help that much, but you can do that. Keep in mind that pausing will cause your bomb to explode faster, which is gonna change the timing on things. That's gonna work. No. It's something. I would consider this less consistent than the 4-bomb method, but you do what works. You can also do the chrono here if you want to. It's a bit trickier though. It's a bit trickier, but it's still possible to use Chrono to extend your timing here. Again, I really wouldn't recommend using Chrono, but it's there if it helps you. The second alternate strat I'm gonna talk about doesn't rely on timing at all, really, only a tiny bit. It more so relies on technical execution. We usually refer to this as the swag strat because it looks kinda cool, but I generally prefer calling it the grip strat myself, or the power grip strat. It sort of looks like this, if I can do it. I almost did it, first try, I think. There we go. So, the timing for placing the bomb here is really lenient. Timing wise, this is by far the easiest of the tricks. The difficulty here lies in the sheer amount and speed of inputs you have to do. Just falling off this block and then grabbing it again is sort of tricky already. But then you also need to plan a bomb just before unmorphing and climb the ledge almost instantly. But after doing all that, you can just hold left after grabbing up here. You can just hold left immediately and you'll hit the bomb. You'll hit the bomb explosion falling automatically. This will also make the unmorph at the ledge the easiest because you get the biggest boost. You get a way bigger boost than the other strats. Oops. But it's hard. Okay. Because you're boosting so at such a low height, you get a way bigger boost. So almost nobody uses this though, but it's pretty consistent if you can do the inputs. It should really be considered if you're having trouble doing the bombs. Like, try this out and see if it's any easier. It's gonna need a bit of practice because it is hard. It also has the advantage of not requiring any time to set up your position, so like you can just kind of rush through there. It's hard though. Like, it also, you might just not even grab the ledge, and it doesn't require you to set up your position. So this is faster than the bomb strats, if you can do it, which is another cute advantage. It's a tiny bit faster. But the fastest strat, which is the one used in the TAS, I don't recommend people to actually do this. This is by far the hardest way to get through here. Until very recently, I wasn't even aware this was doable unassisted. I only really want this in here for archiving purposes, that it is possible. Again, I wouldn't recommend anyone doing this. This is way hard. But you can jump extend across the gap. So if you don't know, I'm assuming you're a bit new to this if you're watching the video, but a jump extend is when you're in a spin jump and you break the spin by shooting. This gives you a tiny bit of extra distance by stopping your momentum. And Samus's max vertical speed is way faster than her max horizontal speed, so resetting momentum will give you a tiny bit of horizontal distance. And you can do this any number of times if you want to. You just have to alternate between A and B when jumping. So you can jump extend across here, and it's so hard, but it is really quick. Really quick. And I'm gonna try to show it off. It might take a few tries, but we'll try to make this work. There we go. So this is really, really hard. But it is the fastest way across. It's just almost impossible. I used to have better success with this. Oh, there you go again. I had better success with this earlier when I was practicing. But it is really, really, really hard, and unless you're like super hardcore about getting the fastest possible time, I would not recommend this at all. I just wanted to show that it's possible. And in theory it is the fastest way through, just assuming you don't fail about 10 times before you get it. It also has this slight advantage that it doesn't destroy this block, so if you fail it you can just try again without resetting the room. Which, I mean, that's a pretty shitty advantage, but it's something. Now what if you fail these though? What if you screw this up? What if you don't get the 4 bomb? Well, the most reasonable way to do this is to just go back out and reset the entire room. This obviously takes a lot of time. It's like 20 seconds to reset. But that at least gets the blocks back. You can try again. But if you don't want to do that, there is another way to get past here. You can HPJ across the gap. HPJ standing for horizontal bomb jump. Now I'm just gonna be clear that HPJing is really hard, and you need to practice this a lot before you can do it. And if you're not comfortable with this, just reset the room. It's not that big of a deal. You really shouldn't be failing in the first place. But if you do, it's better to reset the room if you can't do the HPJ. But you can do bomb jumps without gaining any height. In fact, a frame perfect bomb jump will lose you height. But in order to get through, we're gonna settle for not gaining that much height per bomb jump. So if you do this right, you hardly move at all, which is what you're trying to do. But the standard way to do diagonals is to just hold towards the bomb all the time. In this case, we don't really want to do that, because if we place in the bombs so that we don't gain any height, we're hardly gaining any distance either. So what you want to do is place the bomb and then fall for like a couple of frames before starting to move back towards the bomb. It's kind of hard to get look at it visually, but you want to delay a bit. You want to hold nothing and then move towards the bomb before you place it. I'm not super good at HPJing, so it's hard for me to show this off. But you want to sort of do that all across the gap. It's pretty ridiculous. But if you can do it, it saves you time, apart from going back. Another thing you can do though, this is like what you do if you're here normally, but if you have high jump, which you should have, or if you have spring ball rather, but it's the same upgrade. If you have high jump when you go here, which you really should, it's part of the 100% route, so you can start from way down here by doing a spring ball bomb jump. This gets you like 3 extra blocks of distance right away, and you start 2 blocks lower, which is a big deal for height. Like, I'm not even good at HPJing and I can sort of do this. And then you can even try to get the power grip to get to the last point. So this might be worth learning as a backup. Getting this bomb is a bit tricky though, and might need a bit of practice. But you like do a spring ball, and then once you break the surface of the acid, you place a bomb, and you'll fall back into it. The timing is a bit tighter than it looks, but if you can do it, it helps a lot for the HP gain. So yeah, hopefully this helps you out at all trying to get this trick. This is again one of the hardest tricks you have to do in any percent, or have to do. It's you don't have to do this to get a quote-unquote good time, but it's a pretty big deal in terms of time loss if you don't. So this is still, even if it's really hard, it should be one of the first things you learn as a runner because of how much time it saves. But yeah, I hope this helps out at all. Y'all just go out and have fun getting runs, hopefully. Yeah, see you around, guys.